Dr. Anissa Holmes, and today I have Josh coming on from ADIT, and really excited. They've got some pretty amazing things that are going on with ADIT. If you haven't heard about them, it's a one-stop solution to be able to run so many different areas of your dental practice. And they've also got something pretty cool that's just been added into ADIT, which I know we'll talk about today. But again, Josh, thank you so much for coming on. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Good stuff. So let's talk about ADIT, right? So there are a lot of solutions out there, obviously, for dental practices to have to incorporate, so they have to have scheduling and booking and text to pay and like all of these things, and it gets like super overwhelming, right? And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta use this one and that one and that one, and they've got to talk together, and it's just like, so much for our teams to have to manage all of these logins and like everything. And so what is very different about ADIT, and obviously you'll share, is that it allows you to be able to really have everything kind of in one umbrella, right? Which makes things just super efficient and easy, and allows you to be able to run your business better. So I'm going to be quiet and let you share. It's your company, it's your business. You can share more than me. What is ADIT? What makes it very special in the dental marketplace?
Absolutely. So ADIT is, to your point, it's a cloud-based software that aims to bring together all of the different features and functionalities that a dental practice uses on a daily basis, but bring those things into one place where they actually communicate with each other. They're actually all in the same platform, right? What's unique about what we offer and kind of how we came about it is we took an opposite approach of what most tech companies, most SaaS companies do. Because, you know this, but when we started the business 11 years ago, we didn't plan to be a technology company. We didn't plan to be a SaaS company at all. We actually started in, website and digital marketing was what we really specialized in. So a lot of the technology services that we offer, when they were created to solve problems that our dental clients were bringing to us, right? We never created the software as a way just to enter it into the market. We didn't even offer a technology-only package until 2020. It was super unique. We had built all of these different pieces of softwares, from the scheduling to the VoIP phone system, the analytics, but it was all to aid what we were doing on the marketing side. 2020 happens. Not all of, but a lot of the dentistries have to close down for 2 or 3 months. Last thing they need is new patients, right? So something really unique happened. They started calling us and saying, hey, we need to pause everything that we're doing with you guys, but we actually can't run our business without the technology that you guys have in your package. Is there any way we could turn off the marketing and just keep that? Right? And so that's over that 12-month span of when COVID first started. It was a complete 180 in the business we were doing, because everyone was calling us and saying, hey, you guys have built this platform where everything's all in one place. My friend told me about this. Can you guys get on this? So we have unknowingly to us created the platform that brought everything into one place without even meaning to do so. And that's really what I think the industry was clamoring for. Whereas I think a lot of our competitors, you've kind of seen the opposite. They've come in and they've offered one piece of service that everybody's really liked. And whether that is digital forms, or whether that's the VoIP phones, or whether that's the analytics, they said, hey, we do this really well. But then when everybody's asking for consolidation, they're going and saying, okay, well, we need to white label this, or we need to acquire this other company because we need to be able to offer this service. Whereas at it, we've actually developed everything that we do. And that's a primary difference, is that everything that you're using with ADIT was actually built and supported by ADIT for the purpose of being able to work together. But a little bit of a unique way of getting to the end result for sure.
So let's talk about all of the different things that you guys offer in one package. Can we talk about that? Because it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's everything top to bottom. So we'll start out with the VoIP phone system. So we are integrated into your practice management software. I guess that's a good place to start. So we're working with your Dentrix, your EagleSoft, your Open Dental. We've probably got 10, 12 other integrations into different practice management softwares. But first of all, we'd connect your VoIP phones. So making sure that you can get your call pop on the screen. So anytime a patient calls into your practice, there is a call pop that pops up on your computer screen letting you know who's calling, but all of the information associated with this patient. And it's pulling all of that data straight out of your practice management software. So it's, all right, this is who's calling. These are their family members. This was their last visit. This is their next visit. Have we sent them digital forms they haven't submitted yet? Does this patient owe us money? Does this patient have unscheduled treatment on their account? Do their family members have unscheduled treatment on their account? Just providing as much information as we can. But other things too, like being able to text from your office phone number. One of the things I hear a ton is when practices are using a separate phone system from their communication system, is that all of their automations and their reminders are either coming from a 5-digit number or a random 9-digit number versus actually coming from their office. So being able to integrate that to where all the communications come from the same place. Being able to have a mobile app. People love being able to download something on their cell phones that they can actually help run their practice through. So any of the calls and texts that you make from your mobile app are actually still coming from your office phone number. So the doctors don't have to give out cell phone numbers anymore or have that, emergency voicemail. If this is an emergency, dial this number. You could say, if this is an emergency, press 1. And then it sends to that mobile app of that person. So a lot of cool things there, but all of the communications as well, the texting, all of your automations, reminders, digitizing your patient forms. I mean, that's kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's so much that we do on the patient form side too, where we can automate different forms to certain patients based on treatment code. So if you know that every time you're doing a certain service, you need a certain consent form signed, as soon as that treatment code goes in, automating a text with that consent form out to the patient. Auto-filling medical histories. So for patients coming in that maybe haven't been in 6 months or a year, or whatever the case may be, instead of having them have to refill out that entire medical history form, it's pre-filled. And all they have to do is go in and edit any things that have changed, right? So little small things like that just to make your jobs a lot easier. Online scheduling, so integrating the schedule, you can put it on your website. Being able to text it out is honestly a much bigger deal for me than having it on your website for all of your recall and all of that unscheduled treatment that's sitting on your books, having an easy way to get those patients back on the books. And then, of course, analytics. I mean, analytics is probably one of the most popular things that we do, is just providing all the KPIs, all of the dashboards, your morning huddle, but integrating it to where I can call, I can text, I can send a form, I can send a scheduling link from those analytics pages. Like I don't have to leave the platform to go somewhere else. The biggest complaint that we got there from people switching to ADIT was, man, I love these numbers, but if I want to do anything with them, I've got to leave the platform and go somewhere else. Like if I want to create a list to call these patients, I got to go somewhere else. If I want to send an automatic text, I got to go somewhere else to do so. So just building those all into one place, text to pay, in-house payment plans, payment reminder automations, just trying to automate as much of the business as we can so that one person basically becomes 5 people. And I know that's something that you talk about a lot, is how can you leverage yourself as a business owner and not just as a doctor? So, making your staff's time a lot easier.
That's a lot.
I know. It's we could talk for 3 hours. So I'm trying to just touch on the top points, but.
So let's talk about this, this new feature, this new integration partner that you have, which helps with patient financing.
Yes. So we inked a partnership with CareCredit about 8 months ago or so, which has been huge for us. We're actually the only communications company that has ever been able to do this with CareCredit. So this is something that no one's really broken ground on yet. It's really exciting for us. Essentially, so CareCredit has this feature. Most of the market uses CareCredit or offers it to some degree, at least as an account. Probably 90% of practices out there know of CareCredit and know what they do, how to offer it. So what we've done is they have a feature called a batch quick screen. And what it does is it scans a practice's active patient database and reports out of those patients, how many of them are existing CareCredit cardholders and what is their credit line. But what it also does is it tells you how many of those people are pre-approved for CareCredit and how much are they pre-approved for. So we have taken that information and integrated it into everything that we do on the communication and analytics side. A good example of this would be you come in the morning and you pull up your morning huddle, right? And you're going through with your staff on, who do we have coming in today? What are they coming in for? I can see, all right, Susie's coming in to see Dr. John. She's coming in for these treatment codes at this time. We see that she's got unscheduled treatment. We got this, we got that. But I can also see, oh yeah, and she's actually pre-approved for $2,000 with CareCredit.
Right.
So if I know that going in as a treatment coordinator or a financial coordinator, whatever the case may be, and I know they're going to need this service, that makes my conversation a lot easier with them, because I either know that they've already got the credit limit and they've already got the card, or I know that they're pre-approved. So it's much easier for me to have that financing conversation than it would have been previously. The other part of it is building it into our text to pay features. So right now we already have the ability to be able to text out, obviously, a statement, and then they can just follow the link on their phone, pay their bill. Right. And we've seen about a 25% increase in the time it takes to get a bill paid. So it's just much faster to get your bills paid. What we've added is, with that same batch quick screen feature, if we read that they are a cardholder or if they're pre-approved, it will actually automatically offer them a second option to pay via CareCredit. So if I send out a $1,000 bill and I see that they're pre-approved for $1,200, it'll say, hey, do you want to pay with your debit or credit card, or would you like to pay with 12 payments of $100? Or whatever the case may be, whatever you set it up. The cool part there is that the patient can do everything on their own phone. So everything with CareCredit is actually iframed into what they're doing with ADIT. So they don't have to leave, go to a different website or scan any other QR codes and go through CareCredit. It's all kind of built in so that everything just becomes much simpler for the office in getting this done. The third feature that I would say with this that is really powerful, we've got a feature within analytics. We call it our patient list feature. And basically what it allows you to do is to create custom segments of patients based on whatever set of criteria that you want. Now, an easy revenue generating way to use this would be to say, okay, I want to create a list of patients from the last 6 months that have unscheduled treatment. A lot of people will have 6-7 figures in unscheduled treatment in that time period. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to filter these out, right? I can also add in a filter based on either specific types of treatment or the treatment amount. So let's say, all right, I only want to see unscheduled treatment that is $1,000 or greater. But I also want to filter by their financing status. So now I only want to see the unscheduled treatment that's $1,000 or more that also has a CareCredit card with their credit limit being $1,000 or more. So now that narrows it down to, let's say, 15, 16 people that are unscheduled for this treatment that costs this amount of money, but we already know that they've got the CareCredit credit card and they're already approved for an amount greater than that. And then within the same platform, we can just shoot them a mass text and include the link to our schedule and say, hey, we know that this was, a holdup for you financially, but we see that you're pre-approved by CareCredit for this amount. Go ahead and book your next appointment. And it'll allow them to go in and book. And we've seen practices book $40,000, $50,000 in production from sending a text, that takes 5 minutes to go in and send. So a lot of cool, powerful ways to just increase the amount of production you're doing, increase your collections without necessarily increasing the time it takes to do so.
I love that. And, I know that you were there at our summit and Dr. Benjamin Hardy was speaking about the science of rapid transformation, right? And how do you hit those impossible goals, right? And it really is all about the frame, so saying, what, instead of doing X amount per month, I now see in my new frame, my impossible goal is I'm going to do double that, right? And so you have to have a new frame, you have to have a new floor, right? So that what was now the highest that you were making becomes the lowest, right? But you have to have focus, right? Like that's the third part of hitting the impossible goal. And what I love about what you just shared is that hitting an impossible goal, for example, you say, okay, well, I want to double my production. Most practice owners are like, well, that's impossible, right? It's impossible. However, when you create a focus and says, okay, well, what's going to be our strategy, right? Who's going to be the who, or what's going to be the process, or what's going to be the system to make that happen? Well, what if, right? What if we now had a process that we can go in and, again, we can filter for patients who have treatment plans above X and are already approved. And now we have a person, whether it's going to be in person or a virtual assistant, that now texts, or maybe there's an automation that happens, on a certain time period that it can go through email. I'm not sure if you guys have that or not, but like that now creates a way that it's really, really not that hard, actually. Especially if you're at, 30, 40,000 a month, even 100,000 a month, depending on how many doctors you have, chair capacity, to really be able to hit that impossible goal. And so I love this specifically as a focus frame, to be able to do just that, right? So you're not really growing linear, which is like, oh, let me just get one patient to say yes, right? Which is what most people are focused on, right? So this now allows you to not go in a linear path, but to go in a very different path, which is more like multiplication, to be able to 10x. So yeah, I love that. That's really cool.
It's exactly what you said. I mean, we're in a unique position to where we get to see some numbers for, we've got over 3,000 clients at this point. So we see a lot of numbers for a lot of high performing dental practices, and you'll see practices that would be doing well, but they just don't understand exactly how well they could be doing. Yeah. You'll see practices that are doing $1 million in collections, and you look at that and you say, hey, that's a good performing practice. They're doing well, but they could be doing 3 or 4 pretty easily. Yeah. And they just don't know. So you're exactly right. Yeah. Exponential growth, focused intensity, it just lends itself to overall growth. I agree.
So we probably have some people's attention right now. Right? They're like, I didn't know you could do all of that stuff, or I'm interested, or like, let me learn about that. Right. So what would be the next step, right? For somebody's like, you know what, you've got my attention now, right? What would be the next step for them to connect, to get a demo, get started, or say, I'm not sure, let me see this thing, or like, what would be the next step for somebody, if they're already like, what, I need that already, what do I need to do? What would that process be?
100%. So I know we've got a landing page with Delivering Wow. That would probably be the easiest way. So there's a lot of information on there where you can go in and request a demo. Basically, the first thing that we're going to do is just take a look at your current tech stack and talk to you a little bit, understand what you're doing. Is this a scenario where we can just consolidate and save you some money? Or are there features that you're missing that you want to be able to implement into your practice? Figure out what that looks like for you, and then just give you a full walk through the platform. If you can't find the landing page, just ADIT.com, super easy, ADIT.com. You can go on and check out the different services we offer. You can request a demo from there as well. But we do some special discounts for Delivering Wow. So if you want to just throw in the notes there, how you found us as well, that'd be great.
We'll do that. Josh, thank you so much for being here. This is really, really exciting. And how interesting that it really evolved from really the marketing agency and seeing what people needed to be able to help them. I myself have Digital Floss, which is our marketing agency. And so that's one of the things that we're looking at, like, how do we get people pre-approved for financing, right? And online booking links, they need to have that. So we need to chat about that. But really exciting to hear like all of this crazy stuff that you guys are doing, and all of these features in one. And so again, ADIT.com, you guys can go and check it out. And again, thank you so much for being here. For those who are listeners of the podcast, thank you so much for taking time to be here for another episode of the DentalFlix Uncut podcast. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks.
You've just unlocked valuable insights with DentalFlix Uncut, but there's more. DentalFlix is not just a podcast, it's a thriving community, a hub of knowledge, and the #1 online streaming CE platform in dentistry. With just a few clicks, you can start exploring a wealth of resources, including in-depth training on leadership, case acceptance, scheduling, hiring, weekly marketing calls, insightful gap assessments, and scorecards, all designed to help you master what you discovered today and propel you further on your path to dental excellence. Head to dentalflix.com to get started for free and embark on your journey towards mastery. Thanks for tuning in to DentalFlix Uncut. See you next time.